Well, what's up, Rock Church? Hey, we're going to dive right into this morning. Thank you so much for spending just a few minutes with us with your Christmas day. I trust you are with your loved ones. As we know, this is a recorded message. I'm actually on my way to Texas to be with my family, and I just love the fact that we can meet online and be surrounded by our friends and family around this Christmas holiday. We're wrapping up our Awkward Family Christmas series. The last few weeks, we have been looking at different circumstances and scenarios around the nativity story, starting with the awkwardness of Jesus' family tree and how God decided to work through some very messed up characters to bring forth the Messiah. The second week we talked about the circumstances surrounding Mary's pregnancy, and we discussed on how God's favor is not for the select but for those who are willing to obey. And then the third week we talked about kind of the awkwardness surrounding the circumstances around the nativity, such as the stable and the manger, the outcasted shepherds, and all the different things that make up that and what that means for you and I. So today we're wrapping up in Matthew chapter 2, talking about the Magi and the gifts that they bring. So let's go ahead and open our Bibles right there. It's also going to be on the screens, kind of overlaid on top of the video, and you guys are able to follow along with me. But let's go ahead and dive right in and read Matthew chapter 2, starting at verse 9. It says, "After this, the wise men went their way, and the star they had seen in the east guided them to Bethlehem. It went ahead of them and stopped over the place where the child was. And when they saw the star, they were filled with joy. They entered the house and saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasure chests and gave him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh." Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Three gifts that you usually don't bring a baby. Three gifts you don't really bring to a baby shower. One of which was probably the only thing that I wouldn't complain about receiving as a gift, and that would be gold. But what does these three gifts mean for you and I? Well, first of all, we need to know that all three of these gifts point to who Jesus was, who Jesus is, what Jesus came to do, and what that means for you and I. First of all is gold. Gold is a gift fit for none other than a king, which is amazing because the wise men brought gold knowing that they're about to come across a Messiah, the Messiah. And so when they came into the house and they saw a baby, they gave him lots of gold. And they're wondering, well, why is this important? Why is this necessary? Well, that's because Jesus is king. Jesus is King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and more importantly, Jesus is our king. It really displayed his authority and who he is to this world. The second one is the gift of frankincense. The gift of frankincense is actually an incense that's burned in the temple, and incense rises up. It's used by the priest. Now, if you don't know what this is, a priest is someone who is the mediator between humanity and God. Well, what's amazing is that when they came to him and they gave him the gift of frankincense, they're actually stating that Jesus is not just a priest, but he is the priest, meaning that Jesus is our mediator. Jesus is our priest. We don't have to go through the old customs and having to go through the old sacrifices and atonement sins and all these other different things that people had to go through in order to be forgiven. But now we have the priest that we're able to go through, and that is Jesus. The second one is the gift of myrrh. Myrrh is a very strange gift. Myrrh would be considered kind of our modern day embalming fluid. What they would do is that they would take this myrrh, and as a loved one passed away, when they wrapped him up in strips of cloth and linen, they would put bits of myrrh throughout the wrapping process. And what it was just a way to honor the dead. And what this meant is that not only was Jesus born, not only is Jesus king, and not only is Jesus priest, but Jesus is also sacrifice. Jesus was born to die. And that's a very sober way of remembering and honoring Christmas. But that's why he was born. He was born to die for the sins of the world. In fact, these are three gifts that the Magi brought, which are actually three gifts of Jesus to us. Jesus is our king, and he is a good and righteous and loving and empathizing king. No other king can match his style of kingship. No other king can match his level of kingship. Jesus is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. The second, again, Jesus is our priest. We don't have to go through a mediator anymore. We can go through Jesus. In fact, Jesus says that. He says, the only way to the Father is through me. Thank you, Jesus, for being our ultimate priest. The third one, again, Jesus is the sacrifice. And that is the gift of all gifts. That Jesus loved you so much that he came into this world, that whoever would believe in him, that we don't have to die, we don't have to perish, but we have the opportunity to receive everlasting life. So as you guys are opening up gifts, as you guys are enjoying the fun things of Christmas, just remember these three gifts that the Magi brought to Jesus. These three gifts that actually are gifts to us. That Jesus, he's our king. That Jesus, he's our priest. And that Jesus, he is our sacrifice. Three gifts that we can have during this Christmas. Three gifts that we can remember this morning. So know that. I love you guys. I'll see you guys next week. Remember those things.